In terms of the verification, the partnership that you have with Storyful, how do you suppose that the Newswire, the Facebook Newswire, is going to handle April Fool's Day, for example?
Oh, you're jumping straight to April Fool's Day. I thought we'd thought of everything, but clearly not. We need to have an April Fool's Day meeting tomorrow. Fortunately, we have like 10 months. Storyful is really good. You threw me off. I'm usually pretty good. Storyful is really good at what they do. I mean, it's a bunch of highly respected and experienced journalists. One of their co-founders is someone I worked at CNN for more than a decade and a half, and I knew him from there. And he's an excellent journalist and helped start this company. And over the past few weeks, working really closely with them, it's become really clear that they're really good at what they do, and the kind of content that they've been able to discover and the vetting process that they have. Basically, we've turned the keys over to them. We worked very closely with them on defining what the product is going to be, the type of content that we wanted to distribute, the tone that we wanted in, the way it would be formatted for journalists, but then ultimately day in and day out, they've got newsrooms across the globe. They're staffed 24/7, 365. And so really they're going to drive it. We're going to continue to work really closely with them. But, the reason why we brought them in is because we're not journalists. I mean, granted, people like Megan and we have a bunch of journalists on staff, but they've kind of jumped to the other side and they're now, more on the partnership side. And we wanted people who are living in the news cycle.
Right before we stepped up here on stage, I asked you, when did this idea came up? You said only a few weeks, correct?
I mean, it's probably like 6 or 8 weeks ago. We're still, even though we're relatively large, I've been at the company now for about 3.5 years. So it's a very different place from when I started, and not even 2/3 of the way of the life of the company. But we're still really agile. We're still able to move really fast, and it's actually at its core, it's a really simple idea. Right? Storyful was already sourcing this content on our platform. This was just a more formal way for us to help them find it, and then also use us as a platform for distribution, which is not something we had not before really created a way for journalists, made it really easy for journalists to use our platform. So it was actually in Pages. I mean, you could set up a page during the time that I answered this question, and so it's really simple. And so it was actually just a really easy and simple and fast process.
So considering this one took so little time to come up with, what's next?
I think I might get some sleep tonight after the last few days and start thinking about what next. But really, I mean, in all seriousness, we actually have our big developers conference next week in San Francisco, F8. We'll be announcing a number of product enhancements for developers. So really looking at how we can make the platform more valuable for people that build products on top of it. So that's a big step for us. And then I think over the next few months, like I said, we're continuing to invest in ways that we can make our platform better for what we refer to as public content. And so that is content that's shared publicly a lot from celebrities, athletes, news organizations, and how we can continue to evolve in such a way that makes us more of a destination for that kind of content, both to discover it and to share it.
So any kernel of what we might see next week?
No. Nice try, though.